We learnt about some housekeeping that needs to be performed in the reception area daily. In this topic, we explore the processes of monitoring the presentation to ensure standards and quality is upheld. Although we generally took a look at some of the processes that need to be performed in a reception daily, it is necessary to broaden and be more specific. From the organization, your service standard procedure should look as follows, or could look as follows. Specific times that specific tasks need to be performed. For instance, what time are the carpets vacuumed, what time is the floor swept and mopped, when and how and often are flowers delivered, when does cleaning fetch empty cups. All that sort of stuff must be maintained in the reception area. Now, you would probably need to consult with the cleaning company just to make sure that you're aware of the processes and make sure that those processes are actually performed. Being equipped with more specific instructions about the housekeeping, it will be easier to maintain and monitor tasks. Having a checklist is always a good idea. In most cases, these checklists have already been designed and implemented and would be an addendum to the procedure. If not, here is an example of one that you could use. In the case of a non-conformance, depending on the nature of the non-conformance, report it through and/or to the relevant channels. You could take this checklist on a daily basis or go through the items that need to be checked and make sure that they are checked. This way, you can quickly pick up a non-conformance, have it reported, and it can be sorted out timeously. Receptionists have really important tasks, not only to be the lasting impression for customers and visitors, but to ensure the rest of the company remains secure. Access control must be enforced at any measure. It is no secret that in today's growing technological world, predators come in all shapes and sizes, and these may even be among us. Be on the lookout, be vigilant, and make sure to conform. It is thus necessary to enforce all access control procedures to all employees as well as visitors. The following procedures are normally implemented. An authorized security policy. This is also governed by the Protection of Personal Information Act. ID card systems for employees to track movements and/or access to the premises. Search and seizure procedures to authorize a search of vehicles, hand luggage, and in some organizations, this includes a body search. Tobacco companies, for instance, have body search policies in place and do random searches throughout the day. Movement of goods procedures, the signing in of personal laptops, tablets, etc. With the rise of document theft, either to obtain confidential information about the organization for whatever reason, in most cases to see what the organization is up to, it is important to always maintain the highest level of confidentiality when working with employees as well as visitors. All employees usually sign a confidentiality and/or non-disclosure agreement as part of their employment contracts. In addition, confidential documents must be locked away. Now, by locked away, we mean restricted access. With everything being electronic these days, IT has a job and a half to manage electronic access control. Make sure that your computer is locked when you leave and/or are away from your workstation. Keys to a safe and/or filing cabinet with assets and/or printed documents should be controlled by one person only. Don't give away your password and or allow anyone to sign on a computer using your sign-in details. As for personal items, never carry too much cash around in your handbag, especially if it may be unattended. If possible, keep in a locked cupboard. Laptops should be secured to the desk or table with a table lock. Don't wear too much jewelry and keep electronic devices, phones, tablets, locked away and or on you person at all times. General security policies may include: make sure of the procedure and or process in the case of fire, theft and or bomb threats. Visitors should not be allowed to wander around unattended. Reception and security should be notified on a daily basis of visitors visiting before arrival. Be vigilant and avoid answering confidential questions about the organization's dealings. Don't leave keys indoors. Make sure to have an asset register of everything in the reception area. No equipment should be allowed to be removed without the necessary permits. Firearms may under no circumstances be allowed on the premises. Firearm safes should be available at security to be locked away before entering the premises. The owner of the firearm must keep the key. Make sure that emergency and evacuation procedures are clearly displayed, as well as the first aiders and team leaders in the case of emergency. Be sure to be aware of visitors so that they can also be accounted for during an emergency. This is why it is important that they specify who they will be visiting, as that person will then be responsible for them. An evacuation route may look something like this. It may have the following symbols: fire hydrants, where they're placed, telephones, emergency telephones, bells, alarms that should be rung in the case of an emergency, fire exits, don't use elevators, always use the stairs, and also then assembly points. Make sure that you're aware of your organization's evacuation symbols and what they mean. Now, just as with any other area inside the building and or around the building, reception maintenance is also important, and security needs to be maintained. Being vigilant will help notice any security breaches, like broken locks and or fences, doors. They should be fixed immediately. Lost keys which could have been stolen, locks should be replaced immediately. Visitors loitering and or without the necessary visitor IDs, which shouldn't happen. Visitors being aggressive and or threatening, and any theft and or life-threatening situation. And that's a wrap for topic 2 of cluster 4. Let's take a look at what we've learned. Make sure to have a maintenance administration system in place for the reception area. Always follow security procedures for visitors entering and exiting the building. Be aware of evacuation procedures in the case of emergency. Secure information and equipment at all times. Be vigilant of any broken windows, doors, fences, especially in the morning when entering the building.